Greetings from Toronto, everyone. We are about to get our York University Study in Canada session started in just a moment, and then I'll lead us into some introductions for myself and my colleague, Emmy, who will be joining us today. If you don't mind, team, could we get the main slide up as our main screen? Fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, so hello everyone. I hope you're all happy and safe over in Turkey as we move through this often difficult COVID-19 situation. In a normal year, I'd be in Turkey right now visiting schools and meeting with students and parents and guidance counselors. And it's too bad that it looks like we won't be able to do that again until at least 2021. But I'm happy to have a chance to speak with you all here today. I'm looking forward to providing you with a whole lot of information about studying in Canada and York University. So my name is Carl Sachs, and I'm York's recruitment manager for students that are coming from Turkey. I am that bald guy in the middle there of that picture with some of our students at York International. This is our international student office at York, and they are students that are helping us on campus, and they have student jobs on our campus. Also joining us today is my colleague, Miss Emmy Morita, who has also previously worked with students coming from Turkey. She is in the middle row of this picture, second from the right, and she'll be helping us with some of the poll questions and also answering some of your questions today. And speaking of the poll questions, before we move further in the session, to help us get a better understanding of who is joining us today, please take a moment to click on the poll section and answer some of those poll questions that we have set up. So there are 4 questions there today. What type of program are you interested in? What program specifically are you interested in? What are you studying? And when do you hope to begin your studies? So if you wouldn't mind taking a moment to click through and answer those poll questions quickly. And if you don't get to it, we'll kind of address them throughout the session as we move forward. Okay. So in today's presentation, I'll be covering a bit about studying in Canada and Toronto, what York U has to offer, admission requirements, tuition and scholarships, and with the remaining time, we'll do a Q&A. So as we go through the presentation, please feel free to write down any questions you might have. I'll be answering many of them throughout the session, but you can also post your questions in the questions section of the chat. All right, so let's get started. So why study in Canada? Maybe you've had friends or family study in Canada. Maybe you're a Canadian yourself, or maybe you've just been doing your research. So here are some things that make Canada unique. The majority of universities are publicly funded and government regulated, assuring that students receive the highest quality of education available. We have about 90 publicly funded universities in Canada and only a few private universities. So most likely all of the universities that you've heard of are public universities, and those are the main ones that, if you've been doing your research about Canadian universities, probably the ones you're interested in. We're all required to adhere to rigorous quality standards and are reviewed on a consistent basis. So the quality of university and education in Canada is high across the board, meaning students focus less on rankings in their university search and more about finding the right fit. Like, do they have the program you're interested in? Or what is the campus vibe like? Do I want a campus in the city or somewhere more in nature? Or do I want a bigger university or a smaller university? Or what does my specific program, again, look like at that specific university? These are the main questions students ask themselves when looking at universities in Canada. A degree from a Canadian institution is also portable and will be well recognized around the world for employment opportunities, masters, and professional opportunities. Education in Canada can also be quite affordable relative to other countries like the United States or the UK. So students and parents in general receive a great value for their financial investment. And I just wanted to double check. I hear some ruffling in the background. Emmy, would you mind muting your microphone? Sorry, Emmy. Thank you. There we go. Okay. So for admissions, in general, the main thing Canadian universities are looking at for admissions are your grades, period. For most universities and most programs, additional documents like SATs, essays, and reference letters are not required. Additional things like a portfolio or a leadership profile or an interview or an audition are required, but only for a select few programs. But there are some exceptions to this, and it's important, and this will come back to many of the things that we're saying today about the Canadian universities. It's important to double check with the university you're interested in directly. Also, with different programs, required prerequisite courses and grades will vary from institution to institution and program to program. So again, most important thing is do your research and investigate each university you may be interested in. And all admission requirements should be listed on their website. Transfer credits may be offered to students in advanced programs like A-levels, APs, IB on a course-by-course basis. So if you're doing those, you might be skipping right into second-year courses when you arrive at the university. And then there's law school, medical school, and other professional programs. We often get a lot of questions about these. These are post-grad programs in Canada, meaning that you need to first complete a university degree before you can enter into them. You also won't find a program called pre-law or pre-med because those don't exist in Canada. You'll hear of programs like biomedical science or health science for medical school, or human rights and equity studies, or law and society for law-related programs. But something called pre-law or pre-med, there is no named program like that. Of course, for those professional programs, it is extremely competitive to get into, and the number of spots for international students can be limited. So if the goal is to move on to medical school or move on to law school, it's important to research those in advance, really before you're even starting your undergraduate degree in Canada. Of course, for many of our medical undergraduate medicine-focused programs like biomedical science, our students are attempting to get into medical school in Canada, but they're also looking at the United States or the Caribbean or other countries as well, and similar for law school. So that's something, again, I mentioned the flexibility and portability of a Canadian degree. Those degrees are still recognized in other areas of the world as well. So for the application process, if you're looking at Ontario universities, I'd recommend OUAC, which is our common application. I think many of you may have heard of that before. With the common application, you get 3 university choices for the base application fee. So if you're interested in, for example, York, Guelph, and Carleton, you can apply to all of us at the same time through OUAC. If you're interested in universities outside of Ontario, you'll typically be applying directly to each university. And there are also a few universities, I think it's 4 or 5, that are on the United States Common App as well. We often get asked this as well, how do I submit my actual documents? So typically, within a week of applying, you'll be contacted directly by the universities you've applied to with your own unique university login information. You'll then need to upload your documents to each university directly. So typically for the initial portion of the application, you do not need to mail any documents. So the process is apply, wait to be contacted by your university, log in to the specific university website that you've been provided, and then upload your documents. So all Canadian universities, we offer networks of student services to help you succeed in both your academic and personal life. So examples include, but are not limited to, airport pickups, healthcare supports and clinics, advising and counseling, many types of orientation sessions. It could be program related or related to Canadian culture or adapting to our chilly winters. Those supports are all there, and we have teams and facilities of people needed to help students make a smooth transition to university life in Canada. And of course, Canadian universities are leaders in preparing students for their careers. There's co-ops and internships available at most institutions, and it's possible to work in Canada as a university student up to 20 hours per week during the school year and 40 hours per week during the breaks. So that could be like winter holidays or the summer holidays. And something unique to Canada, after completing your program, you are able to get a post-graduation work permit that will allow you to stay in Canada for up to 3 additional years, and that is not tied to a specific job or a specific program that you're completing at the university level. So what many of our graduates do is they find gainful employment after graduating, and then after a year, they'll apply for Canadian permanent residency or citizenship. So this here is a map of our beautiful country, Canada. For those who don't already know, we are the 2nd largest country in the world. It is big. So just as an example, to fly from the far east coast of Canada and Newfoundland to the far west coast of Vancouver Island, it's about 9 hours. That's about the same time as a flight from Istanbul to Beijing, China. It is big with several different regions and climates within it. So this map also includes some lovely Canadian cliches: hockey, maple syrup, wildlife, beavers, moose, bears, oh my. Yes, we do have those wonderful things in Canada, but besides that, it's a diverse, welcoming country, well known as being peaceful and safe, its strong economy, and a stable political system, and also a great destination for international students due to its very strong post-secondary education system. So York University is located in Toronto, in the southernmost part of Canada. So Toronto is the largest city in Canada, the 4th largest city in North America, and one of the most multicultural cities in the world. Fun fact, more than 50% of the people that live in Toronto were born outside of Canada. So we're used to having people from other countries and cultures and backgrounds, speaking multiple languages, practicing different religions around us, and we like that. It is a welcoming place for people coming from overseas. And one thing that I really love about Toronto, and this ties in with how multicultural it is that you can get authentic, delicious food from any country or culture in the world, any day of the week. And although during the COVID times, it's not so great for the old waistline because it's a little more difficult to get some exercise these days, but it's definitely good for the soul. And just as an example, I have 2 fantastic Turkish restaurants that are a 5-minute walk from my house just up the street, which now, especially since I don't have a chance to visit Istanbul this fall, I have been frequenting for the last few months. Toronto is also, of course, the financial and business center of Canada and a hub for tech startups and a center for the arts, culture, and film. And York University is a reflection of the city we are in. We are the 3rd largest university in Canada. We have about 55,000 students from 170 different countries, and we have strong relationships in industry, in the arts, both in the Canadian and international communities. Our 2 main campuses in Toronto are home to over 7,200 international students. We are a research-intensive university with over 200 programs at the undergraduate, master's, and PhD levels, and we have leading professors in their fields. We have an extensive, well-connected alumni network, and we are ranked as one of the best universities in the world, furthering the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in the Times Higher Education Global Impact Rankings. This here is our Keel campus. It is the larger of our 2 campuses, and it's like a city within the city of Toronto and where most of our programs are located. It's a large, modern, self-contained campus. So that means that there is a ring road around it, and this is really just a space for York students and staff. The Keel campus is home to about 52,000 students and has everything you need to live, work, and study. There are over 50 restaurants on the campus. There's a small shopping mall, including a grocery store. There's a doctor's office, a dentist office, a pharmacy, a huge athletics facility, 2 sports stadiums, and 6 ice hockey rinks in our ice hockey complex. Yes, we do love our ice hockey at York University. We also have 10 different residence buildings for students to live in, and as a first-year student, you are guaranteed a spot in residence. The campus is a safe and welcoming place for incoming international students. And one of my favorite things is that the campus offers super easy access to downtown Toronto by subway. There are actually 2 subway stations on our campus. This main one you see here is York University Station. So we actually had the Prime Minister of Canada, Mr. Justin Trudeau, come to our university and cut the ribbon when this station was opened back in 2017. It was a big deal. So it's a straight shot to downtown Toronto with no transfers in about 30 minutes. So being at the Keel campus is like being in a little city with 52,000 students. That's your new home when you're studying in Toronto. But if you want to go downtown, and of course this is in post-COVID times, if you want to go downtown for a concert or a festival or to see a Raptors game or just to try one of the restaurants that's not on campus, you can do that conveniently and easily. But at the end of the day, you're coming back home to a place that's just for you and your fellow York students. We also have our Glendon campus, which is the smaller of our two campuses in Toronto. It's a short 25-minute shuttle bus ride from the Keel campus that I just mentioned. It is in a park-like setting, and two fun facts. Many of the classes taught here are in converted mansions, like the one you see here in the picture. And there is a rule that no building can be taller than the tallest tree. It is in one of the most beautiful areas of the city, and Drake's mansion, yes, Drake, the wonderful Toronto native that we love so dearly, his mansion is just a 2-minute drive away from here. So I'm saying if you go to the Glendon campus, you are essentially neighbors with Drake. There are about 2,700 or 2,700 students here. And it's typically for students interested in studying a subject like economics or psychology or biology or international relations in an international environment. What do I mean by international environment? Glendon is our bilingual campus, meaning that courses are taught here in French and in English. You don't need to know French to study here, although it's for students that are more interested in that smaller campus in an international atmosphere. But if you do not know French, you will need to take some French language courses in your first 2 years. Of course, if your major is at the Glendon campus, you can take classes at the Keel campus. And if your major is at the Keel campus, you can take classes at the Glendon campus. It's all part of York University. So across our two campuses, we have 11 faculties, and as I mentioned before, we offer over 200 different programs. So I'll quickly jump over now to our poll questions. If we can see the answers or the responses to poll number 1, number 2, I just wanted to double check if it's possible to access that. It may not be, it seems. So I think we can circle back to those at the end of the session. But
hi,
if it...
Hi, Carl. Sorry to interrupt you. So I'm able to see the response that's coming in.
Oh, fantastic.
Here the first questions I wanted to share with everyone here. Seems
yes,
like
please.
The first poll question is, what type of program are you interested in? Seems like 41% of people here are looking for undergraduate programs, so bachelor level, anything that starts with Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Business Administration, Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Engineering, so on. Then we have 55% of people here are actually interested in studying in graduate programs. So those are in master's, PhD, or could be including law school, medical school, those programs. And finally, 3% of the participants here are either teacher or guidance counselors. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you very much to the guidance counselor crew for joining the session today. Hopefully you're finding it as interesting as the students are. So I quickly wanted to mention our session today is focused on undergraduate programs at York University. For graduate, master's, and PhD programs, I think Emmy may have been doing this already, but we're happy to provide you with the contact information for the specific people that would be the best people to contact. Because with master's and PhD programs, it's much more important to contact the faculty or particular departments directly. But our main area of expertise is on undergraduate programs. And then Emmy, could you let me know, what are we looking at? What seem to be some of the more popular programs we're looking at for the undergraduate or for the programs people are interested in?
Sure. So there's a good spread here. Seems like the most popular one here is 34% of people looking for engineering or computer science area. So technology programs are popular here. Then next popular one is science, biology, physics, and chemistry, 18%. Then business, 15%. Humanities and social science, 13%. And then there's other, 8%. Law and politics, 7%. And arts program, although it's only 3%, is the smallest number here. We cannot forget that we have artists here. So 3% of people are interested in film production, graphic design, visual arts, and other type of art programs.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Emmy. Okay. So jumping back, so that's a little helpful to give us a better understanding of who's in the audience today. We're happy to go into more detail about some of the specific programs. So I'll give some of the highlights of what we have to offer here at York. So this right here is a list of all of our faculty. So we do offer programs in arts, media, performance and design, film production and screenwriting, visual arts. We have one of the most prestigious art schools in Canada as part of our university. Engineering and computer science in our Lassonde School of Engineering. They have excellent co-op programs built in. Life and physical science and health science in our Faculty of Health and our Faculty of Science. Environmental science. We have very well-known business and commerce programs. Humanities, social sciences, languages, and a whole bunch more. We also have the oldest law school in Toronto, the third oldest in Canada, and over 50 master's and PhD programs. So we offer pretty much everything, and it's likely that we have the specific program that you're interested in, and we're very happy, again, to go through some of those in more detail in the Q&A session later. So what's unique about going into a large institution like York is that it presents you with a lot of opportunities. With many different majors to choose from, you have the ability to do your degree your way. So with most programs, you can do a double major or major minor and combine two different areas of interest to create your own unique degree. So you could do psychology with biology, film production with business, communication studies with marketing, sustainable environmental management with human rights and equity studies, computer science with statistics. I could go on. There's well over 1,000 different combinations of things that you could do. So it's possible to combine most programs and you'll still be able to finish your degree in the usual 4 years. And since this question comes up a lot, there isn't an additional cost to doing a double major. So one example of combining two different areas of study is from one of our recent grads, Kevin. So Kevin was a student in the BA Financial and Business Economics program. He was interested in business and also interested in programming and app development. So he took some IT courses and some computer science courses during his degree. As part of a pitch competition in one of his business classes, he came up with a great idea. He felt that it was taking too much time to read his textbooks and imagine how great it would be if an app existed that would make study notes for you. So he presented this idea and won the pitch competition. Then with support from his professors and knowledge gained from his IT and computer science courses, he actually developed the app. He then submitted his business proposal to this TV show that you see on the screen here. This is Dragon's Den. It's like the Canadian version of Shark Tank, which some of you may have heard of before. This is where entrepreneurs will go on and pitch their business ideas to try and get investment from one of the 5 dragons. So Kevin was the first person in the history of the show to get investment proposals from all 5 dragons, and with their support, the app is now available for download on the App Store. It's called the Summary Scanner app, and it's an app that summarizes content of a document from a picture. And you can download it again, like iOS, App Store. Please feel free to support our York University students. So this is a great example of how you can combine several different subjects you're interested in to further your own interests and create a degree that's unique to you. Many of our programs also offer practical hands-on learning opportunities, including co-ops, placements, internships, and practicums to get you real-world experience well before you graduate. We often get asked, what is experiential education? So experiential education is the application of theory to real-world situations, and that can be either within the classroom or within the community. And this enhances the learning outcomes and practical experience gained from your program. It also lets you test drive different career paths, get a better understanding of what you want to do in the future while building relationships with professionals in your field of interest. So we have strong connections with employers in Toronto and the surrounding area, and being in Toronto gives you easy access to Canada's largest job market. A big focus of the programs at York is to make sure you're career ready by the time you graduate. So for example, we have advanced lab opportunities for our Faculty of Science and Faculty of Health students. Rachel here in the picture is working in a research lab under the supervision of her professor during her research practicum course, and paid summer research positions are also available. Our engineering and computer science students can access a fantastic co-op program that sees them alternating work and study throughout the final 2 years of their program, while being paid at companies like IBM, Uber, Tesla, Honda, and Siemens. We also have great internship opportunities in accounting, human resources, finance, marketing, political science, international relations, and much more. So gaining access to hands-on training is an important aspect of many York programs. And speaking of career preparation, we have a whole team to support you with, or at our York University Career Center. Their job is to help you get a job by supporting you throughout your 4-year program and as you begin your career. They'll help you write your resume in the Canadian style. They'll help you on the job hunt. They host career fairs where employers from various different industries recruit students right out of the program. And those events have not stopped because of COVID. They have just shifted to large online recruitment events and fairs. And the reviews so far have been positive from both students and employers. And once you get the job interview, they'll do practice interview sessions with you. So they also help coordinate several of our internship programs and are in general a great resource for students studying at York. So another great important resource we have on our campus is York International. This is the International Student Office, and they help you before, during, and after you've completed your program with orientation sessions, immigration advising, social activities, and they have an amazing global peer program where you can be matched up with a senior year international student who will guide you through your first year. So this is just even a place to go if you have general questions or if you're feeling homesick or looking for support relating to things outside the classroom. And since we are a large university with many students, of course, we have on-campus housing for students to live in. The dormitories for your first year are the classic dormitory style, like what you'd see in movies. I always recommend staying in residence at least for your first year. It makes it way easier to get involved on campus, make friends, join clubs, teams, sports, and there's nothing better than waking up, rolling over, and being in your first class in 5 minutes. And for students beginning their studies in fall 2021, residence is guaranteed as long as you submit the required residence application by June 1st. And of course, university isn't just about studying. We have an active and engaged student body and are home to over 400 different clubs and teams. So those clubs and teams could be career related or hobbies or sports or faith-based or just for fun. Accounting, medicine, robotics, history, politics, gaming, photography, film making, film watching, any sport you can possibly imagine. So it's a great way to make friends and have fun. And I'm sure you'll find something that you're interested in, or you'll have the chance to try something you've never tried before. And before moving on to our next section, I just wanted to quickly highlight some unique connections York University has to Turkey. So over 130 students from Turkey are currently studying at York. York has exchange partnerships with Koç University and Boğaziçi University and internship opportunities with the Women Entrepreneurs Association of Turkey. Ulrich Shannon, the previous Consul General of Canada in Istanbul, and now the Canadian ambassador to Iraq, has a degree from York. And Turkish Olympian Tuba Karademir is a graduate from our Bachelor of Commerce program. Business professor Murat Kristal once held positions in Turkey's Directorate General of Civil Aviation. Political science and law professor Nergis Cenefe specializes in forced migration studies and international law and previously taught at Boğaziçi University. And criminology professor Özgün Topak, his research focus includes surveillance studies, human rights, and the criminalization of migration with a significant focus on Turkey. So that was a whole lot of information about our university. our programs, and our campuses. In the next section, I'll highlight our requirements and how to get admitted to York. But before we do that, let's go back to our next two poll questions. Emmy, would you be able to help me out with the answers to those poll questions?
Sorry, I have to unmute myself. Okay, so the next question is, what are you studying right now? So I know that there are quite a few people who are here to learn about graduate programs. So of course, it looks like 60% of people here are currently studying or have studied in university level. Now, next, there are 22% of people here who are studying in Turkish high school at the moment. Then 13% of people who are studying in Turkish plus IB curriculum, and 5% Turkish plus AP, so American system high school.
Great, thanks, Emmy. And then for the last question, we can address this now, and I'll be able to answer it as we go through the admissions section about when people might be interested in beginning their studies.
Yes, so this is interesting. So it seems like there are some people, about 10% of people who are interested in joining us from January 2021. Great news is that we're still accepting applications for January in many programs. So I'm sure Carl will cover that very soon. Then 44% of people considering for September 2021 entry. Then 46% of people after September 2021. So there's sort of the split between September next year and after September.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Emmy. So that makes it a little more helpful to understand the curriculum people are coming from, and also when you're thinking about beginning your studies. Some of you might be in grade 9, 10, 11 right now. It's great that you're getting a lot of information now and doing your research about where you'd like to study, but there's also a good number of students who are really planning on starting next fall, which is fantastic. All right. So moving on, admission requirements. As with most Canadian universities, the main thing we're looking at for admission for most programs, and again, this is for undergraduate programs, is your grades. In general, the most important grades for us are your grade 12 grades from your Turkish high school or your IB predicted grades for IB students. If you're doing APs, the main thing we're still looking at is your Turkish high school as well, but we'll take the APs into consideration for transfer credits. For most programs, we recommend grades of 70% or higher for a conditional offer of admission. That's for the Turkish curriculum. For IB students, we recommend predicted grades of 30 or higher for most programs, although we'll consider a 28. And for some programs, we do require higher, like for commerce, business administration, engineering, computer science, and neuroscience. That's what we're looking at for Turkish curriculum, about 85% or higher, or for IB, about 36 or higher. And for science, engineering, or business programs, you'll need to have prerequisite courses as well, which could be a combination of math, chemistry, biology, and physics. So very important, the admission requirements for our programs are not a secret. Almost every curriculum and the requirements are listed on our website, including Turkish and IB requirements, and also specifically US curriculum and AP requirements if you wanted to look at that as well. So feel free to scan the QR code that is on the slide right here, and that'll take you right to our requirements page. And if for whatever reason you don't find what you're looking for, come to our booth here at the, or sorry, not come to our booth, come to ask us questions after the session or send me an email. I'll be sharing my email at the end of the presentation, and I'm very happy to assist. I'm just gonna leave that QR code up there for another 2 or 3 seconds in case anyone wants to take a quick scan of that. All right. So we have some special notes when it comes to admissions. SATs and ACTs are not required, period. Essays and letters of recommendation are also not required for most programs, but there are a few exceptions, like the Schulich School of Business BBA program and the Bachelor of Fine Arts programs that require a portfolio or an interview or an audition. For those, we will need some additional documents, but that is also all listed on our website. For Ielts and Toefl, we usually need an Ielts score of 6.5 or a TOEFL score of 83. If you've been at a school where the main language of instruction is English, for the final 4 years of high school, it won't be required. Or if you're doing the full IB diploma program, we also won't require IELTS or TOEFL. Scholarships are available for international students. We have automatic scholarships that range from 1,000 to 3,000 Canadian dollars per year. That's and that's based just on grades. We also have major scholarships that range from 5,000 to 35,000 Canadian dollars per year. So to be eligible for the big scholarships, you need a straight A average, and for us that would be an average of 85% or higher for the Turkish curriculum, or a 36 or higher if in your IB predicted grades if you're doing the IBs. And so you also need to have, of course, strong extracurriculars, so everything that makes you amazing outside the classroom, and you will need to be nominated by your high school. So the big scholarships are only open to students joining York directly from high school, and this is important, each school can only nominate one student for the big York International Student Scholarships. So it will be up to your school guidance counselor or administration. Sorry to the guidance counselors that are in the session today. I'm happy to discuss with you in detail more about the nomination process. But again, the nomination would come from your school, and it's typically for, we always recommend it for students that your counselor or your school administration thinks would be a good fit for York University, but also fits those strong academics and that amazing extracurricular profile. So if you are the nominated student from your school, then you'll need to submit a separate scholarship application that opens in December and closes at the end of January. And to help you and your family plan for your studies, these are the costs for the fall 2020 semester for York University. So that's the semester that's currently taking place right now. So York is about the mid-range in terms of cost for Canadian universities. Of course, only the tuition is being charged for students who are studying online for this year. So things like residence and meal plans are only for in-person classes. So tuition is about 32,000 Canadian dollars for most programs, but the total all in for one academic year, that includes pretty much everything listed here, we usually recommend around 52,000 Canadian dollars. And lastly, let's quickly go through your application timeline for the next year. For next year, if you're planning on joining York for September 2021. So in late September, the OUAC application opens. So applications are open now. From October to December is a good time to apply and begin submitting your documents. Again, important, you do not need to physically mail any documents. Everything can be uploaded to your online York account or emailed directly to me, or your guidance counselors can submit them on your behalf directly to me as well, or through a back-end system like Parchment. In December, the scholarship application opens for the nominated students. In February, the scholarship application closes. From February to May, you will receive your decisions. Another important note, for those doing the Turkish curriculum, we won't be able to make a decision without your grade 12 semester 1 grades. So as soon as you have those in January or February, upload them, email them to me, or ask your guidance counselor to send it to me. With that, then we'll be able to make a decision. For IB students, we can make a decision based on your grade 9 to 11 grades and your IB predicted grades, which are usually out in the fall sometime. May 1st is the date that you should have made your decision to accept or not accept your York offer. On June 1st is the residence application deadline to guarantee a spot in residence. August 1st is the deadline to submit your final grades. Yes, of course, we do need to see your final grades after they're available. And classes begin the first week of September. Feel free to take a screenshot of that if you're curious, if you'd like to hold on to a quick snapshot of what the timeline looks like. Okay, and very quickly, because about 10% of the students were interested in beginning in the January semester, if you've already completed your high school studies or you're thinking of transferring from your current university, you're welcome to take advantage of this. We are one of the few universities in Canada that has a January intake of this size and scale, as most programs are available. Applications are open now, and I'd recommend you apply as soon as possible if you have not yet. And you'll get access to York account shortly, or your York account shortly after you apply. Then you should upload your documents right away. November 1st is our application deadline. By late November, you should receive your decision, and as long as all required documents were provided on time, you'll then be able to begin enrolling in your courses. And in January, the classes will begin, and as with most Canadian universities, York University will continue to be online and remote for the January semester. So that was a whole lot of information in about, I think, 35 minutes. So to summarize, we offer high quality programs in pretty much every area, taught by professors who have the highest education qualifications in their field. Our Keel campus is like its own city within the city of Toronto, but just for York students. And our Glendon campus is like a smaller international community for students looking for that small campus vibe. And with that, I'm pretty sure that we have something that would be the right fit for you. Again, my name is Carl Sachs, and my contact information is here on the screen. My email address is csachs01@yorku.ca, and you are very welcome to email me anytime with any questions about anything relating to our programs or the application process, and I will do my best to assist. And at this point in time, I think Emmy has been answering your questions throughout, but we might be able to switch over to answering some questions live. I'll pass it over to Emmy. Emmy, how are we looking in the question section?
Hi everyone, it's Emmy again. I've been trying to answer all the questions that's coming in, but my typing is not as fast as the questions coming in. So I apologize for those who I haven't been able to get to. Now there are a lot of master-related questions, PhD-related questions. Unfortunately, my answer is to guide you to the proper department who can assist you with the correct information. We don't want to give you wrong information here. That's why we need to refer you to other departments. But let's see if there are any questions that we can answer here on live. So the question that I was just about to answer is some information about the living cost. It was something that was shared in one of the slides that Carl mentioned. Maybe you can quickly show that to us again.
No problem. Yeah, so I can quickly go over this section one more time. There we go. So for the sorry, I'm seeing the uploads and there we go. Now I can minimize it. So for the tuition costs, this is a breakdown of tuition costs for one academic year at York University. The 52,000 Canadian dollars that's listed there is the all-in expected cost for one full academic year, and that includes residence, meal plan, textbooks, personal expenses. That's an estimate, but that's like, if that's I mean, you should enjoy your life while you're studying at university as well. That's for you having fun outside of your classes. So that's this is what the cost breakdown would look like for most programs. I hope that answers that question. Feel free to take a screenshot of that. Yeah.
Okay, so the next question, I'm going to move on because the time is limited here. Do you have any representatives in Turkey?
That's an excellent question. So York University, as a policy, we feel that the best resource for you is to contact the university directly. And in this case, that is me. So I can give you the most accurate and direct information about anything to do with the York programs or application process or what your program or your years at York will look like. And I'm happy to provide that over email, but also you can book a one-on-one session with me. I'm very happy to chat in detail, specifically about undergraduate programs. So that's bachelor's degrees. And then if you have questions about your master's or PhD programs or other postgraduate programs, we're happy to put you in contact with the master's, postgrad, and PhD teams. But yes, I would recommend contacting me directly, and that'll be your best resource for anything to do with York University.
Thank you. The next question, and there are quite a lot of questions coming in from people who are interested in transferring into York University's bachelor's degree from Turkish universities. And this might not be something that we specifically covered in the presentation. So do you mind talking quickly about how the transfer process works for students who are coming from Turkey?
Absolutely, and I'll leave up here the winter timeline because it is possible to apply to York now and transfer for the January 2021 semester. So the process would be, the main thing we're looking at for international transfer students is, well, of course, we will need to see your high school grades in combination with your university grades. So depending on your university and the different grading scale, we look at your GPA there and we'll kind of calculate the admissions from there. You can email me the specific information for your situation and I will, of course, double check it for you. You are eligible for transfer credits, but the number of transfer credits you receive will depend on the program that you're studying at your current university and your grades in those courses and the program that you're transferring into at York. So we'll need, again, your high school grades, your university grades, and the course descriptions for the courses that you have taken at university so that we can understand what you studied in that course and how that equates to programs at York University. But that would be the application process. The earlier you apply and submit all the required documents, the earlier you will receive a decision. But I'm very happy to work directly with you. You can always email me and I can let you know exactly what the situation is for what you're currently in and what you'd be transferring into.
Great, thank you. Now I'm hoping that we have time for a couple more questions. Here's the question. Could you please inform us about language requirements? And there's another question about, do I need a French language to get into communication studies? So if you can clarify the language requirement for undergraduate admission and for which programs French is required or not required, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmy. So yeah, for our programs, you can see listed here, again, typically we need an IELTS score of 6.5 or a TOEFL score of 83. And that's for, in general, for our undergraduate programs, unless you've been at a school where the main language of instruction is English, and you've been there for the final 4 years of high school. For French, in general, there's no specific, or sorry, there are only a handful of courses that require you to do a French language test. So that would be, I believe, the BBA program at the Glendon campus and I believe it's our linguistics program there and our communications program at Glendon. The communication studies program at our Keel campus does not require a French language test. So again, if you would like, if there's a specific program you'd like me to double check if you need a French language test, you can always email me and I'm happy to respond. But in general, there's only, I think, 3 courses or programs at the entire university and they're all at the Glendon campus that would require you to do a French language test in advance.
Okay, thank you. Now, there's a very quick question that I would like to address here. Is it possible to go to York straight from high school? So since we just talked about transfer applications, it's a little confusing here, but I would like to stress that we do accept students directly from high school. There's a lot of students coming from Turkish high schools and other international high schools straight to university, at York University bachelor's program. So the answer to this is definitely yes, you can come straight from high school. Just make sure you graduate with good grades. Now, speaking of grades, there's another question. How important is GPA? Carl,
excellent question. Yeah, no problem. I'm happy to. Again, the slide is up here one more time. A GPA is, again, and this is both for York University and in general for most Canadian universities, GPA is the main thing we use for admission to our universities. So things like extracurriculars are typically not taken into consideration for admission for most programs. The main thing that gets you admitted to the university in general is your grades. And we have the admission requirements listed here of what you should be aiming for admission to York. But again, the GPA is the main thing that gets you admitted. And then extracurriculars are good for a scholarship application, but not necessarily for admission to York for most programs. And again, you can check the admission requirements by scanning the QR code that is here, and it'll give you the specific details of what we're looking for every single York program.
Great, thank you. And the related question here is how competitive are the admissions? I believe it depends on the program, but is admission competitive, Carl?
Yeah, so it depends on the program that you're applying to. But so in terms of competitiveness, for universities in Canada in general, the typical process is if you meet the admission requirements, as long as that program is not full, then you will receive an offer of admission. So it's a little different than some US universities that will collect all of their applications throughout the year and then review them all at once. And that's why you typically don't hear Canadian universities talk about admission rates, because we do rolling admissions. So the earlier you apply and submit the required documents, if you are admissible, you will get an offer of admission. And again, that's the normal process for Canadian universities. There are some programs that have a limited number of seats, like for example, our Schulich School of Business BBA program, and also our computer science program, and our biomedical science program. So for those, it's important to apply as early as possible so that you have the best chance of getting admitted. Because again, the earlier you apply and submit the documents, the earlier you'll get a decision. It could be, if you are applying later, that the program is already full by the time you intend to apply or before you've received the decision. So I think that's some area around like the competitiveness, depending on the program you're interested in.
Okay, thank you so much. So there are a lot of questions here, but I'm not sure how much more time we have for this session. I think most of the questions have been answered. There are some master PhD related questions are here that unfortunately we're not able to answer directly. But as I said a few times during this session, and Carl has mentioned as well, there are appropriate departments that you can connect with to receive the information. And in the chat box, I have also suggested for those who are interested in applying to graduate level programs, please join us at a different event that's happening from November 4th to November 6th this year in 2020. It's a virtual event, Experience Grad Studies, where you can ask all the questions that you may have about program availability for international students, funding for international students will be offered in a separate session. So please check that out. I think that's most of the questions that came in. And there are some specific program related requirements, questions that I'm sure we can address to by emails. If you would like to connect with us, email address is right there. And if you are simply interested in learning about the minimum grade requirement, it's on our website as well. But please do email Carl and ask all the questions that you may have.
So I will leave this. Sorry, Emmy, I will leave this up just for one more moment. There's some questions about admission requirements. The admission requirements, again, by scanning this QR code, you will be taken directly to the admission requirements page, and you'll be able to find the specific details about the program that you are interested in. I see a couple questions quickly about for the arts department. So our School of Arts, Media, Performance, and Design, we're looking for both good grades. So if you're doing Turkish curriculum, we're looking for an 80% average or higher. But in addition to that, we're looking for a strong portfolio, but that will vary depending on the art program you're applying to. So for a film production student, I believe it's 3 different films or film related things that you've worked on. So you'll have to provide links to YouTube videos or through Dropbox, but also there's a personal profile you fill out, and there's also an interview portion. And that'll be similar for the any of the visual arts programs. You'd have to submit, I believe it's 10 pieces of art you've worked on, and then also describe what those particular pieces of art mean and how you will grow as an artist when you arrive at York. But again, all those specific details are available on our website and can be answered in more detail by our School of Arts, Media, Performance, and Design. But of course, you can also email me, and I will just put all the key information in that email. But it's not something as simple, because it would be quite lengthy information to summarize in our chat today. Okay, I'm going to go back and put up my email address just one more time here. Again, I'm Carl Satz, CSACHS01 at yorku.ca. And you can email me. If there's anything from students that are applying from Turkey, I am your main guy. And again, I'm happy to chat on Zoom. I'm happy to answer questions over email. And I'm happy to put you in contact with anyone in the faculties or departments in case you're looking for more information as well.
Carl, is it possible for you to post in the chat box your email address as well?
Oh, sure. Yeah, for sure. It is CSACHS. Got it. It is CS, and you can copy and you can just click on that or copy and paste that there. And I hope that the information in the session was helpful today. We tried to cover a lot of information about both studying in Canada and about undergraduate programs at York and what we have to offer. I hope that you have a chance to do a little bit of research, and feel free to email us or email me, and I'm very happy to help. Oh, and John. Hey, John, how's it going, bud? I hope that was somewhat interesting. And thank you again to all the students and all of the guidance counselors that were attending the session today. I'm happy to chat always afterwards as well with specifics, or if you have any of your students who are interested in studying in Canada at York.
Carl, Amy, thank you very much for this fruitful webinar session. It was very informative, and we received many questions, and you covered most of them. But you already posted your email address in the chat box, so if there are further questions, I believe they will be contacting you directly.
Fantastic.
Again, is there anything you would like to add before we say goodbye?
No, I thank you so much. It was a great chat, and it's fantastic to see so many good questions coming in. I'm glad people were paying attention and are seemingly very interested in Canada and York. So always happy to help. Email us anytime. It's not just a stereotype that we're friendly in Canada. This is genuine. So yeah, always happy to help.
Amy, your microphone is closed.
Sorry, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone from our York Lion right here.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you again. So have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.